Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I just want to let you guys know that this video will be talking about trigger warning, about self-exiting, as well as some drug abuse, as well as probably alcoholism, and as well as the foster care system and some child abuse. So if that is going to be triggering for you, feel free to skip this video. But yeah, it's going to be a short one, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's mainly going to be about the foster care family that is in the UK. Growing up, and we always think about the foster care system and how awful it can be here in the US, but I was looking more into the foster care system and stories and things like that in other countries, because we never really speak about them or talk about them that much. So yeah, so I found one and I thought it was pretty interesting, and along with photos. So feel free to sit back and relax and just listen to the story and what happened. There's also a book out that is a little bit more in details. It's about with one of the siblings wrote a book, and it was published in 2015. So if you want to check it out, you can. And yeah, I will include that also as well in this video. So also guys, thank you so much for all the views. If you've viewed any of my shorts or any of my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well, because I post an array of different things, so not just true crime, and I also post about cults. I post about just random, historical things as well, random things I think about and things that's going on in my life, or questions and so forth. So it's not always just shorts, but I do post actual videos. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Alright, well, enjoy this video about Aloma and Chris Spree. I think it's Spree or Spry. And I also want to apologize. I may be pronouncing some of these, either the names or the locations, because I am not from, obviously, the UK, so I don't know exactly how to pronounce it correctly. So I do apologize to anyone who's listening who is from there. I apologize in advance. Also, if you are dealing with any self-exiting or any of those kind of issues, or if you are in the foster care system or you need help, mental health issues or anything like that, check out the description below. I will put a link to a hotline for here in the US, but I also will list it at the end of this video. It mentions if you are in the UK, who you can call, or the website you can go to get help as well. And all help is free, and just reach out to someone, and there's always someone there that's listening and cares. I'm always here too as well if you need someone to talk to. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to I guess continue on, and yeah, so sit back and relax. Here we go. Alright guys, so a lot of my true crime is probably going to come from the actual from probably over in the UK, because I think we talk a lot about America and their true crime and everything, but I think honestly, if you really believe that America is really bad, I mean, the UK's got some pretty gruesome stuff. I mean, let's talk about this one story I came across. So we're going to talk about Christopher Spry, and his foster mother Eunice, basically throughout the agony of their childhood at the hands of their evil foster mother, who is named Eunice. Christopher Spry remembers his eldest sister Aloma as his savior. Aloma's job was to always mop up the injuries and keep us alive, he recalls. She was the enforcer of the family who would also find clever ways to make sure we didn't starve to death, too. Eunice was jailed in 2007 for 14 years. Chris Fry, who's now 35, he faced horrifying torture at the hands of his foster mother. We talk about foster care in the system and everything like that here in America, but have you ever thought about the foster care system in other countries and how do they handle things and what happens? So the brutal abuse took place on a remote farm. Pronouncing a word like Gloucestershire is pretty kind of difficult to pronounce, so I'm going to do the best I can. So anyways, it's been dubbed the Hell House, so we can call it that if you guys want to. So basically, there is a squalid room. Basically, it's a very small room. It's almost like an attic style room, and it is very, disheveled, and it's messy, and it is bare. I mean, it is horrible living. But basically the children lived in this one room. So it was Aloma Gilbert's way of protecting her brothers and sisters from the daily abuse and torture their sadistic foster mother Eunice inflicted on them. Over a period of more than 15 years, the warped Jehovah Witness, she's a Jehovah Witness, what? Anyways, broke bones and routinely abused and starved them. She devised twisted punishments that included forcing them to drink bleach, eat their own excrement. If you don't know what the word excrement means, look it up. And vomit, and have chair legs forced down their throats. Like, what? One occasion where Chris was left for dead especially sticks out in his memory. He recalls, I was out in one of the sheds and Eunice basically hit me round the back of the head with a metal bar and knocked me out to a point where it looked as though I was dead. Then she just walked away. It was Aloma literally beating the crap out of me, trying to get me to wake up. That brought me back around. Her monstrous actions, when they came to light, appalled Britain. In 2007, she was jailed for 14 years for 26 separate offenses, following a trial that the presiding judge called the worst he had to sit through in 40 years. Victoria, Aloma, and Chris worked violently to build new lives, yet for Chris, who's now 35, happily married with a son and working in IT, he has had to contend with more than his fair share of tragedy. Chris says that it is only thanks to the actions of his older sister Aloma, who tragically passed away in July, that he is still alive. This is a photo of Eunice with her biological daughter, Judith, who's in the top left. Adopted kids, Charlotte, who's in the top right. And Caleb is in the center. And her foster children, Victoria, Aloma, and Chris. In July, Aloma died in hospital from organ failure, despite finally finding happiness and true love with a wonderful partner. Her devastating death, aged just 39, came just weeks before the 4-year anniversary of his other sister, Victoria's suicide, on September 22nd. She was 35. Victoria was never able to truly shake off the legacy of Eunice's barbarism. Chris, who is now the last survivor of his foster mom's abuse, admits, if it wasn't for Eunice, Aloma would still be here too. I think Aloma had come to terms with her past, but the damage was done. Even though mentally she had moved on, physically her body couldn't recover. Her organ failure was heavily related to her childhood. She had gone through some substance abuse issues. She had struggled with alcoholism, but she hadn't been drinking for years when she got sick. The doctor said that due to her childhood, she had little chance of recovery. To Chris, Aloma will always be his big-hearted protector whose cunning strategies kept the group alive. Born in Cheltenham, where he still lives, Chris was 3 when he and his older sister Aloma, 6, were taken from their drug-addicted parents in 1992 and placed in care with Eunice. The horrific injuries of one of the girls, known as Victim A in the trial. The sadistic abuse happened over a period of more than 15 years. At first, they were overjoyed to be moving from the carpetless home where they had been neglected to the seemingly strict but loving environment at Eunice's house in Gloucester. But when they moved to an isolated farmhouse, later dubbed the Hell House, in Tewkesbury, Gloucestershire, the abuse escalated. Aloma taught him how to read and write when Eunice pulled the children out of school in 1993 after questions were asked about bruises, and incredibly, she was allowed to homeschool them. He says Aloma was the smart one. She planted potatoes. She'd make us flour and water pancakes when Eunice was asleep because flour was easy to nick. We used to get bread delivered from the local shop, and they would leave it on one of the gates outside. We would collect it and bring it to the farmhouse before Eunice woke up. Aloma would work out that she could take a piece out of the middle of each loaf for our breakfast, and Eunice would never know the difference because she never saw the loaf. It was a little things like that Aloma worked out that allowed us to survive. By 2002, Aloma had become something of a burden to Eunice after running away from home and sparking a police hunt. He said Eunice had decided she was becoming a risk. She cashed out 100 pounds and drove down to Bristol and chucked Aloma out in a youth hostel, and that was basically how Aloma got out because she was kicked out with barely anything. I know she went through a lot of trials and tribulations before landing on her feet and getting a council house. Chris was 16 when foster sister Victoria, then 19, broke down the church and revealed the abuse, leading to the arrest of Eunice in 2004. She was later jailed for 14 years. The abuse was only melted out to the 3 foster children, while her biological daughter Judith and adopted children Charlotte and Caleb, Chris's younger biological brother, escaped. Tragically, Judith and Charlotte later died in car accidents, so only Chris and Caleb remain. In 2008, Aloma wrote a book about her ordeal called Deliver Me from Evil. For years, the pain of their shared past affected their relationship. It was thanks to Aloma's partner that Chris was called to his sister's bedside shortly before her death. He says, after the court case, every time we met, we reminded each other of the abuse. It was just easier to move on. I'm lucky that I got to see her the night before she passed, because I hadn't actually seen her in 6 months before that. Her partner called me and said, "You'll regret not coming. She's not in a great way." So I did go see her in a hospital, not expecting her to die. We made arrangements to see each other a couple days later. We chatted about old times and some of the more funny things. I'd gone through a phase of having some horrific hairstyles, and she just taking the piss out of that. She was happy to see me. I was happy to see her. There was a bit of feeling of, why the F aren't we talking? She was actually doing pretty well. She'd met a lovely man, and it's the first time I've seen her in a happy relationship where someone actually cared for her as much as she cared for them. Then at 4 a.m, she'd gone to the toilet and collapsed. Aloma had been working in a care home with disabled adults as she sought to find some normality. Chris says some of those disabled adults actually attended her funeral, which was amazing, but it was tough to be there and talk about her. I struggled to keep my composure. When you're saying goodbye to sibling, it's brutal, and I've said goodbye to two now. Eunice is out of prison and free, but she's cast this shadow all over us. Eunice was released from prison on parole in 2014 after serving just 7 years of her sentence. She now lives under an assumed name just 24 miles away from Chris's family home. In August, while at a gas station, he saw her for the first time in years. He admits, I totally froze in my car. I was about to get out and put fuel in it, and she didn't see me, but was coming out. I didn't feel fear, but I definitely felt uneasy. Then for the next couple of days, there's some horrific thoughts that go around your brain. It would be a dream just to erase every memory I have of her. I've just about started making a life for myself, and every once in a while, she still manages to make it my life hell. Despite her 80 years, Chris admits, I think she's still a threat in some ways. On the one hand, she's a little old lady now, so I don't necessarily mean she'd be a physical threat, but she's still a very nasty person. She never owned up to what she did or showed remorse. I've moved on, but I do fear for other victims out there. If she gets to play with another family, I do think she could be a threat of sorts. He puts his own stoicism down to having a great support network, including his wife, whom he prefers not to name. He is also dad to a 3-year-old boy whose identity he also wishes to keep anonymous. Previously, Chris tried to take his life several times. He says he owes his life to charities like Give Us a Shout for helping him through the dark times. He lives with daily pain. A collarbone in particular, where Eunice would beat him on the floor, is a daily reminder of the torture he endured. The pain of his sister's death is still raw, but he hopes their legacy will live on. He says Victoria's legacy is that she always tried to help others. Aloma's was that she was an amazing mom, and even though she had lots of lots of hardships and lots of curveballs thrown at her, her love for her kids was always true. It's not that I'm even angry about the whole Eunice thing anymore. It's just that it feels like there's been an injustice, that lives have been taken that young due to stuff out of their control. It's just so sad. He and younger brother Caleb now plan to go on a road trip together to bury the ashes. He says, we don't know where, but both Victoria and Aloma were cremated, and we'd like to go on a road trip to take Aloma's ashes somewhere. Caleb's a father now too, so we'll be two dads putting the world to rights. If you're struggling with mental health or suicidal thoughts, go to giveusashout.org or call the Samaritans on 116-123 if you're in the UK. I believe in America, I believe there's another hotline as well as a website as well, which I will link below in the description. And so, yeah, check out Victoria Spree, I guess. Her book, it's called Tortured. That's where she opens up more about her tragic childhood in the book that she published in 2015. Yeah, so if you check that one out, you probably can read more about everything. So let me know what your thoughts about this. I think this is crazy. I do apologize if I, mispronounce anybody's names or, the landmarks and everything and the city and so forth. But yeah, what do you guys think about all this thing? The woman herself, she does look crazy. She looks mean. She's not ever smiling. I don't know. It's hard to go by looks alone, but what do you guys think about all this? I we hear horrible stories all the time in kids in the foster care system, and it's unfortunately it happens, and the system does need to change. But we hear more about things that happen here in America, but we don't ever think about what happens in the foster care system and what things are in place to help protect these children that are in the foster care system in other countries. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, I guess that's it. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I look forward to hearing or reading all your comments and your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Bye.